How's it going, guys? Welcome once again to the Save Continue podcast. My name is Ryan Robinson. That's Tom Shelby.
Hello.
There's Shanae Howard to
Hi.
my left.
Hi.
Every week we get together and talk to each other about video games and topics of
true.
relation.
That's true.
Shanae,
Yes.
how are you?
All right.
How's the Final Fantasy going? I know you're playing it.
It's good. I still like the clickety clacks.
Wait. You have what?
The clickety clack mechanical keyboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was some kind of horse thing that you were.
The clippity clop of my hooves.
Yeah. It's been fun. Like now that we're getting higher level, tanking is becoming more involved. So, it's something I've always really wanted to get into, and I've done like off and on, but it's never been like super challenging. And normally, like I'm off tank or just kind of.
Never been your passion.
It's just something that I've wanted to do, but because I felt so nervous about letting the rest of the group down, since it is like a pretty pivotal role.
And you
Sure.
have.
And no, I've actually been doing pretty well.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, you got to think about it. It's kind of a low-stake situation, you know?
what?
How do you mean?
Well, here's the thing, Shanae. Every time you're in a group, someone has to be given up as a sacrifice. Okay? So you let that person die, and you can focus on defending the others.
That's not what I do.
Okay.
I try to be the sacrifice.
Sure.
But I have so much HP. It's so hard.
Sure.
So tough. But yeah, it's been nice because it's something I always wanted to do, but I have always been like nervous or like nervous about just like letting the group down, even though like most of them are gonna be strangers.
Sure.
So, and if I have tanked, it's normally when I after I played other characters and I knew dungeons a lot better, so I knew what the tank was supposed to do. This is kind of like a new thing for me, so I've, yeah, it's been nice because like, Berto's really good about just being like, no, it's fine, like don't stress out about it.
He's a supportive man.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's been really fun. He makes it a lot easier for me to tank, and if I mess up somewhere and I'm like,
Then he will berate you endlessly for it.
no, or like
Oh.
there's one where there's like a lot of ads, and I was like really nervous about being able to pull all of them to where I was supposed to pull them in the room.
When you said
And-
ads, I thought for a second that you meant like actual advertisements.
I don't have to pull any advertisements in that game. But yeah, so like pulling ads, and I'll be like, hey, if I'm missing anything, let me know. Like,
In the meanest way possible.
no, because he's a caster, so he has to be a lot further back. So if I have like the main boss character, and then the ads, sometimes if the boss positions himself, or like the fact that I have to be in the corner of the room, it's a little bit harder to. I mean, I see them pop up, but it's hard to tell if if some of them's getting distracted, if I don't not aggroing all of them.
Mhm.
So it's been really nice, like since we're like right next to each other, and he has like a different vantage point. So yeah, it's been really fun.
Shanae, would you be more nervous healing or tanking?
Tanking, healing, I think is pretty easy actually.
You know, I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but in pretty much every MMO that I've played where I played as a healer, sometimes it would be I might be playing really late, and I might fall asleep,
Oh, I
and
thought
then people would die, and then like I'd wake up and realize that people were dead, and so what I would do is I would unplug my Ethernet cable, and then I would plug it back in. I'd sign back in. I was like, "Sorry guys, I got disconnected,"
it happens.
and they bought it every time.
Huh.
So, try that next time. If it ever
I fall asleep.
No, if it ever like your group like wipes out, just unplug your Ethernet, and then then come back and they're like, oh man, what happened? I disconnected.
No, I'm normally like, if it's my fault, I'm like, hey.
People online still get mad when you disconnect, though.
Yeah, but like I feel like they'd be less mad if they knew it was outside of your control. I'd rather disconnect
normally
than
I
everybody know that I'm terrible.
Yeah, normally I'm just like, hey, sorry, like I haven't done this dungeon before, or this like instance, and I was like, yeah, and then I've gotten like tips from people who like, yeah, like when I'm off tanking, because I'm used to main tanking now, and so a lot of times I'll like when there's like the two tanks, I'll off tank, because a lot of times that they are more knowledgeable than I am, so I'm like, oh, I'll take the back seat and let you do that, and then like certain things like that, I've gotten a lot of tips. No, I mean normally, so far Final Fantasy has been pretty like, I guess like people are just like wanting you to do better, and I feel like you're trying.
Sure.
They're pretty nice about
You
it.
know, Final Fantasy 14: A Realm Reborn is actually my favorite MMO that I've ever played. But every time I think about going back to it, like I just can't do it.
That's fine.
I think about like if I get back into it, then I'll probably get into a groove and I'll have fun. But like that getting back in, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Just do it, Ryan.
Sure, probably just do it. I don't remember my account information,
You can play with me and Berto.
and my membership has lapsed,
Oh yeah.
so I don't know that my stuff is still there.
Oh.
So I don't know how long they retain that.
Kind of forever.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, I've never had it where I've never had it on any MMO where I like stopped playing and then went back to playing it, reactivated my account, and things are just gone.
I don't know because all my World of Warcrafts were gone.
Well, that's because war were declared.
Oh, war were declared. I forgot.
Yeah, I think the most unfriendly MMO I've ever played was like Warhammer.
In Monster Hunter, when someone gets knocked out, like the game has it set up to where like if you get knocked out, then it will automatically like generate a message for you. It's a customizable message, but the default is like sorry, like ... and then you could also set it to where like
Sorry?
you could also set it to where like you automatically respond, and like because the default response to that one is don't sweat it. But I was just, as you were talking about like your group wiping, I was thinking about that, and I thought about like what it would be like if I set my message to like you stupid fuck, what's going on, or something equally aggressive.
See, for the most part, the only reason that I have wiped in a group or like had a sty is other people just not looking up what they're supposed to do for their roles.
Okay.
So like
Consult the wiki.
or just like watch a quick 4-minute video on what you're supposed to do.
Oh.
So like at certain points, like you have to go behind, like for like boss fights, like you have to go to like a certain part of the room or hide behind a pillar, or whenever he does this damage thing, you have to activate something in the corner of the room. And people don't do that, and so I'm like, I can't do it because I'm tanking. So like, if we wipe, I'm just like, hey, whenever the boss does whatever move, I'm like, you're supposed to do this, or Birdo types it. So normally it's just like getting the mechanics down. It's not normally never anything like super harsh, which has also been really nice for tanking as well. Because like I don't get mad at them for it.
Sure, but you should.
But yeah, I mean, it's been going better than my Pokemon going.
Sure. I feel like a lot of people can say that. Tom, what's new in the world of Shelpie?
Nothing really. Been playing more Shadow of the Colossus. It's pretty much all I've been. Oh, you know what I've been playing? But I'm not going to talk too much on it. It's a little game called Florence. Really good game.
What's it about?
It's kind of like you're going through a comic book.
Okay.
And you are this woman, the titular Florence, going through a relationship with a man.
Okay.
A romantic relationship.
Okay.
It's produced by Annapurna, who's been, like, recently my favorite producer of video games. They've been putting out a lot of good stuff. They put out Edith Finch.
Right.
They put out Gorogoa. And now this. Florence is a phone game. It will probably be my next check it out. And it's by the guy who made the first Monument Valley.
Okay.
It's very good. But other than that, just Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
My trivia actually ties into Shadow of the Colossus this week.
Alright.
Your map that you have for your collectibles is very impressive.
Yeah, graph paper. Lots of graph paper.
Does it remind you of the days of Metroid?
No, the first Metroid, sure, but like I wasn't busting out graph paper when I was a kid. You know.
You just knew that shit.
No, I was terrible at the first Metroid.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching you get one of those collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
You showed me an Easter egg that I thought was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious as to, I want to see that spear you got in action. I want to see how that plays.
I mean, it's much like the bow and arrow. It just does way more damage.
Can you stab with it like the sword?
No, you can only throw it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, you've been like every time I'm on Monster Hunter, I see Tom Shelby in Shadow of the Colossus,
I'm trying to not only platinum it, but actually 100% it. So we'll see.
and are you enjoying your time?
Very much so, yes.
Good. Because I hate it when you're going for that stuff, but then like at some point it starts to feel like work. But then you've dedicated so much of your time to it already.
I mean, I'm not going to say that I've not been frustrated yet, because I have been.
Yeah.
But I think why a lot of people don't like these games is because the controls can be frustrating.
Right.
But I think that kind of adds to it, because I don't know how many hours I've played of this, but a lot. And fighting bosses that I fought many times before that require specific jumps, and even like the 20th time doing that jump, I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm going to make this.
Sure.
And I like that.
I one of the things I like about the traversal element of fighting those bosses, like every time you land that jump, it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
I was fighting that that one boss that I feel like he had a tendency to like ram columns.
Yeah, Zenobia.
Yeah, and like every time like that, when I was on the column, it was falling, and like as it was falling, I jumped to another platform,
Right.
and that felt really good.
Yeah.
And I think that's a major draw of the loop of that game is nailing those jumps and figuring out how to negotiate the environments while you're fighting those bosses.
Sure.
Shadow of the Colossus is a great game, and I think that everyone should play it at least once.
But a lot of people hate it. A lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm realizing that more with this re-release, how many people dislike the game,
Is
and
it-
almost always because of controls.
sure. I was about to say, is it because of the controls?
Yeah.
I wonder if that was one of the main criticisms for Last Guardian. I think we talked about that.
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't
it
remember.
was.
Yeah, okay.
But speaking of trivia, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm going to use this opportunity to set something straight. So,
Set it straight.
okay. Shadow of the Colossus.
All right.
I'll accept two answers for this. What was it originally called?
Wanda and the Colossus.
That is correct. Before that, it was called Nico. So here's what I want to get straight. I hear a lot of people say Ico. It's Eco, right?
Okay.
You got Eco. You got Nico, which is the Japanese word for two, I believe, combined with Eco. Eco, Nico. And then you have Trico. It's not Nico. It's not Trico. It's not Ico.
Okay.
It's Eco.
Look into the camera when you say that, Tom.
But you're right, Ryan. Wanda and the Colossus.
I actually like that name better. I remember when I first heard about the game.
Well, me
prior
too,
to
but
its release.
and you hear people referring it to as Wander and the Colossus, because I think the Japanese language, something with the ER that they
Yeah.
don't have. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, I remember when I first saw it, I thought it was about a lady named Wanda.
Yeah, when it was first shown as Nico, it was a multiplayer co-op game where you had a bunch of horn boys jumping on the Colossi.
A lot of horn boys.
All the horn boys.
I think that Eco should be renamed to Horn Boy and the Lady.
Sure.
Right?
Horny Boy and Yorda.
Yeah. Horny Boy and Girl Time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I played that game.
You'd play Horny Boy and Girl Time?
Yeah, I played that game.
I
So, Ico, Nico,
I play
and Trico.
I play a lot of Otomis.
I've actually
Basically,
I don't remember the last time I haven't heard someone say Ico since I said Ico back in 2001.
Dude, maybe it's just because I've been watching so many videos on this stuff, right? Because
People are still saying Ico?
into it, but I hear more people say Ico than Eco.
Like in new videos?
Yeah, and you hear Ueda say it, and Ueda, what's he say? He says Eco.
Yeah.
yeah.
But he's wrong.
When I used
Yeah.
to work at ShameStop, it was kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's like the whole near thing, right? Like automata or automata.
Mm-hmm.
Automata.
It's spelt automata, but they
Automata.
call it automata.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, but we wouldn't say Nye or Trico.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I feel like somebody would look at
Yeah.
Ni and say Nai.
yeah, not the Japanese.
No, they would not. I feel like that's pretty unanimous that they would not say that. I mean, at the same time, like I get why someone would look at Eco and say Ico.
Oh, sure.
I get it.
Absolutely. Well, it's like with Faye coming out, right? People are pronouncing that all sorts of different ways.
Like what?
Fee, Fi,
Faux
Faux.
fum.
Yeah.
We got it, Shanae. But I feel like at the same time though, like Eco has been out for so long.
Yeah.
You know, like if you are into video games to the point where you would be talking about Eco in the year 2018, then you would have figured out by now that you're wrong.
Most have not.
Sorry. I have noticed that a lot of like scripted shows will say like a lot of game names wrong, and I'm just like, if someone's writing the script,
Anything from Watch Mojo.
Well,
Literally anything they make is pronounced wrong. Every single thing.
In fact, even in a video that they had
About
pronunciation of stuff, they
Yeah.
were mispronouncing things.
yeah, yeah, just like a lot of them. I'm just like, if you have somebody writing the script, I would hope that they know how to pronounce it. Like, just do a quick run through. Just do a quick run through and correct them. Because
But you gotta-
they sound like fucking
You gotta
idiots.
think that it also could be a room full of people who believe the incorrect pronunciation is correct.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Like, video games are weird. We have different.
Video games are weird.
We have, as far as localization goes, we have different people reading scripts for different regions,
Right.
right? So, like, I think about there's a YouTuber I was watching when I was playing a lot of Tekken 7 who talks about the character Lars. Everybody pronounces it Lars, but where that character is from, that spelling of that name would be pronounced like Larsh.
I like Larsh.
And while that is correct, and canonically where that character is from, that's how they would pronounce that name in the game. They're pronouncing it Lars, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, who's to say? But I feel like with Eco, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should make Eco Part 2. Yorda's Revenge.
Well, that was Nico. But, yeah.
What have I been playing, guys?
You have been playing Monster Hunter World.
Goner.
Yeah, a little bit of Goner.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing with that big old wiener.
And Salmon.
Hey, okay, Shanae, chill out because you don't want to. I don't want. Found out that Ryan's been playing with his wiener and his dog, which is.
No, I mean the spice.
Sure.
Well, you had typed out cinnamon at some point. I don't remember if it was in Discord or in a text or whatever, but like it's got some weird spelling to it, and like I just glanced at it and thought it said Simeon.
She doesn't like to. She doesn't. I found out that she's not a fan of the monsters in some of the monsters in that game.
Yeah.
Some of them upset her.
Does she
quite a
bark
bit.
at them?
She'll growl when she sees them.
Oh, that's really funny.
Like there's this one. I can't. For some reason the name escapes me, even though I fought it like 1,000 times. It's like it's a bat, and it puffs up its neck like this big air sac, and flies around like that. And every time that thing puffs up its neck, like the dog gets really upset. But yeah, I checked and I've logged over 150 hours in that game so far.
Damn.
So it counts it for you?
Mm-hmm.
I wish like PlayStation would just do that.
Yeah.
Or like we talked about, like Steam does it pretty well,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still not accurate because it's just whenever that application is open, whether you're playing or not.
Yeah.
Right. Nintendo, like Switch, does it very poorly, where it's like, oh, you've played more than 5 hours, and then you don't get an update until you've played 10 hours.
Yeah, like
you
I mean,
know?
after that, who's counting, right?
I've seen individual games. Monster Hunter apparently does it well. Shadow of the Colossus does it very well, but
Yeah.
like PlayStation across the board just doesn't do it.
You know, more than that, I would like for them to adopt what Xbox does and give me my progress toward my trophy.
I don't care about that.
Okay, I know you don't,
Yeah.
Tom, but I care about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Shanae,
Yeah.
what do you want to talk about today, boyfriend?
Lorenzo.
I want to talk about character designs and also costumes in general.
Okay.
I
That was
told-
Garfield one year.
I didn't know
Video
that.
Second grade.
video
But
game-
like, you know
It
how
had to
video
be
game costumes.
It had to be the year before we became friends.
second grade?
I thought you said 7th grade.
No, I wasn't even dressing up in 7th grade, but like, yeah, second grade. You remember how like Halloween costumes when we were kids, they were fucking terrible. It was like a poncho
Yeah.
with the mask with the string. You know, like that's not what Garfield looks
It
like.
was an orange poncho.
Yeah, it's like a Garfield poncho with like the fucking rubber band, and like that's not how Garfield looks. You know,
Yeah.
buy my kids' costumes now, and it's like that's a good costume.
Yeah, your boy was Bowser.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good Bowser costume.
Mhm.
I had to inflate the shell
Yep.
manually. That was kind of a bitch, but it was worth it.
Sure.
As far as the costumes I'm talking about is the costumes you can get in game. Unless you just want to tell us about your Halloween costumes in that case.
I think he's only got. I don't think I have any video game related costumes because I was a skeleton every year as a child.
Not like in life costumes, like costumes you can get in the game. Holy
Horse armor.
shit.
Horse armor, yeah, that's the best one.
Okay, so are we just gonna talk about what we like, what we don't like?
Yeah.
I think that perhaps my favorite costume, it's not really I mean it's just part of the character model, but it is what they're wearing, great,
Character design.
is
character costumes.
Isaac Clarke, because of the integration of the HUD into the costume,
Yeah, that's.
and
really
also
neat.
it's just a badass looking fucking spacesuit.
Yeah.
And even the variants look really cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I'm sure it's been done before. I know it's been done since, but it's the first time I remember it being done, you know?
mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I like? I like the alternate costume for. I don't even remember how to unlock this,
Mm.
but there are alternate costumes for Leon and Claire in Resident Evil 2, and one of them has him wearing a tank top
Okay.
and jeans and a baseball cap, and when he aims his gun,
Man.
he does it sideways.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
I remember the tofu. I don't remember that.
I remember I remember it involved looking at a group photo of the Stars team in the office.
I know what photo you're talking
Yeah,
about.
like you look at it, you look at that photo
Yeah.
like 10 times, and it'll say the same message the first 9 times, but the 10th time it'll say something different,
Yeah.
and then you'll get a key to a locker that'll let you.
You get Hood Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get Urban Leon.
Yeah.
I actually really, I mean, I know a lot of people make fun of it, but I really like the costumes in Kingdom Hearts. I like that each world has a different one. I like a lot of the Keyblades. I mean, some of them are better than others, but I really think it's a good blending of like Disney and Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I'd agree with you for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple that are just like really, really off. I'm like, oh, you did this last minute, didn't you?
I don't like most
like-
people are complaining about the new Monsters Inc. character models for
I
like
think they're
Goofy and all that.
cute.
Like I don't like those.
I
They,
think
they
they're
don't they don't
cute.
seem to fit into Kingdom Hearts or Monsters Inc. in my opinion. But you know,
What is it?
they just they make them look like monsters, but they don't look like the monsters from Monsters Inc.
Mm.
They don't look like anything from Kingdom Hearts or Disney for that matter. So it's like they're just like some random thing, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're kind of reminiscent of the Nightmare Before Christmas costume,
Yeah.
where it's not necessarily Nightmare Before Christmassy, but it is kind of Halloweeny, and it's still a cool outfit.
Put a pumpkin on it.
But
John
just put a pumpkin
Skeleton. That's his name.
Jack.
Yeah.
Jack Skeleton.
Yes. Jack
Okay.
and Sally.
Jack and Sally Skeleton.
Yeah. They
Uh,
got married. I don't know. I mean, she could have also just not taken his last name. I don't know. I don't know how that works there. I don't know their laws.
they probably don't believe in the sanctity of marriage, Shanae.
They're probably too busy spooking.
Sure.
Uh,
One of my favorite, one of the things I like is how I like fighting games because they always have a bunch of costumes.
Fuck yes.
There are always a lot of costumes in like Dead or Alive. Like for example, I really like the character Zach because he had this full like silver bodysuit, and like over on the head it had like this like dangly light up thing. And I remember first time I showed that to Tom, he said that he looked like a 7F 2 Bloidial Buttnoid, and I thought that was really neat, and that's how he was always known. But there were always like a lot of really cool costumes in those games. And I mentioned outside that my favorite recent one is Zangief in Street Fighter V. How he made him look like Macho Man Randy Savage. They don't come out and say that's what he is, but it's very obvious that's what he is.
I
but
think
you also
yeah,
like the Jam Jams and Killing Floor, which we talked
Oh yeah,
about
those
multiple times.
those jammy jams.
I think like the best for fighting games is MVC3 because like the costumes completely change things around, right? Like it changes part of the character model. If you look at the standard character model for Ryu and the Street Fighter 1 version of Ryu in that game, like the models are shaped differently.
Yeah.
They still have the same hitbox and all that, so you can actually play the game fairly, but they look drastically different from each other.
Yeah.
Same thing with Zero to Mega Man skin or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that stuff a lot.
I mean, Square Enix in general is, I mean, mainly I'm thinking about Final Fantasy 14, but I really like when JRPGs, when somebody has like a dress or a robe or a long coat, that it will sway when they walk or in the wind. I don't know. I like seeing movement in the clothing and armor.
Makes you look fierce.
Like the clothing and armor, because that's what, like how it is in real life. Like obviously, if you're wearing a giant steel combat suit, it's not going to move a lot, and that's okay. But I really like whenever things are like cloth or like leather and like how they make it move.
Oh fuck! Going back to fighting games, you and I have talked about this several times, Ryan. In Injustice with like movie Zod and movie Superman.
Oh,
and
man.
CW Arrow.
So
like,
cool.
I love
Like
that
the
shit.
cool thing about the cool thing about CW Arrow is that they actually changed the voice.
Yeah.
Like, cause like when you use Arrow's other costumes, he's just like, hey, I'm Green Arrow, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But like when you change him to Stephen Amell, he's like, hey, I'm Arrow.
Yeah.
But it's like it's funny
I have
because
failed the city.
but like he doesn't. But it's like they say all the same lines, and like a lot of Green Arrow's lines are usually like sarcastic or comedic in some way, and like but they'll have CW Arrow say those same lines, but he'll say it in his like menacing Arrow voice.
Yeah.
Like
Like another one, same game also changes the character model itself. Is like the Joker Red Hood costume.
Yeah,
It's fucking awesome.
yeah. And yeah, they put like movie Zod in there, so like the face looks like Michael Shannon's face. Like the moves are still the same, obviously, but like
hitboxes are still the same.
It's really
everything,
cool. Like changing Superman to look like Henry Cavill. That was neat.
but I'm into it.
Which kind of surprising that they didn't do Batman versus Superman costumes when they did Injustice 2. Because I feel like that would have made sense.
Nobody liked that movie.
Well, somebody liked it.
Yeah. Mario Odyssey is fan-fucking-tastic for costumes, and you get to mix and match.
Yeah.
You put those on how you want to put them on.
I like that. You can do that, but then again, I
put 'em in his
wasn't as
undies.
much into the costumes as you were.
I've got almost all of them.
But I don't know. I don't feel like all of them are winners.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about like the costumes in that game. Not all of them, but damn near all of them is something Mario has worn in a game before. It's shit that you might not remember, you know? It's really weird, obscure stuff, but like most of those costumes come from games, and I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Am I remembering correctly that his Dr. Mario suit is in there?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was a doctor pilot
Cool.
instead of having a little.
Wonder how many years of school you have to go through to be a Dr. Pilot.
Well, I feel like you can do doctor school and get your pilot's license in the
Now,
same time frame.
that game also has like the really hideous Diddy Kong costume, which I don't like.
Yeah, I don't
so
like.
don't do that.
I think it's funny because of Mario's character design as far as his like body shape is just so round. It's just circles.
Yeah.
So some of them just look very, very silly. Even I think even compared to like the original games that they're supposed to be at, like it just looks a little sillier on him because they're so round in Odyssey.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like he's as round in some of the other games.
I don't know. I'm into all of them, just not the Diddy Kong.
Yeah, because the
Stop that.
Because like, but from behind he looks like a regular monkey.
And then you turn the camera around
and it's
and
the
you're
face
terrified.
it's the face of a man.
Yeah.
It should.
I don't like the costume. I guess like the character outfits in any of the Pokemon games for your trainer.
No, everybody looks ridiculous in those games.
I don't feel like any of them are really individualistic, and I don't.
Yeah, but I feel like it suits the world though. You know?
I feel like Animal Crossing has more variety, and they're like what you can wear as a character.
T-shirts and shorts.
Like skirts, long socks, short socks,
Sure.
but like even then, like the actual visual differences in those and like your character. I just feel like I don't know. I just don't feel like a lot of people actually look like that. And I like when I see people at like conventions that are dressed as like trainers from Pokemon,
Yeah.
and not like Ash or like Misty, but like I've seen like a lot of like Pokemon Black and White characters. I'm like, oh, that's very distinctly a Pokemon character because it doesn't look like a real outfit.
But to be fair, very few things in Pokemon are intended to look realistic.
Should I counterpoint?
Their trees look good.
Do they?
Sometimes.
Do they?
Sometimes.
I can't.
Realistic? Pokemon's not going for realism. I don't think that the character models should match
But they also just don't have individuality or personality, in my opinion. They're all just kind of like
That's a different point, though.
same muted colors.
Yeah, that's a different point.
I don't know. I don't like any of the clothes there. I just like I normally don't spend money on clothes or spend time trying to get like outfits or something because
Yeah.
I feel like it's a moot point. I'm just like
I feel you.
like I'm not gonna go and buy this skirt unless I have to like get something else.
Yeah.
Anybody else think that Squall looks kind of like Sky Captain?
You mean Jude Law?
Yeah, like with the fucking coat with the fur and all that.
I never, I never thought that, bro. I remember it's funny because Squall is one of my favorite Final Fantasy protagonists.
Sure, I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
But I remember thinking, even back in the 8th grade when that game first came out, when I look at his jacket, I'm like, why is it so short?
Yeah.
Why are
We're gonna fly a plane
Yeah,
at any
sure.
point?
And I don't think you do. I mean, you might, because I never actually finished that game, but I don't think you do. What game was it that had the guy? What Final Fantasy game had the guy that looked like a monkey, kinda? He had a monkey tail.
Oh God, I don't know. I know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
Yeah. Now that guy, you want to talk about goddamn ridiculous?
Yeah.
That guy looks dumb.
Fucking. Wait, 7, 8, 9, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
9.
was. Yeah, him. But then again, I think. But you know, it's kind of like the whole Pokemon thing where, like, he looks ridiculous, but he also he fits in.
He suits the aesthetic of that
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Which I guess is really a criticism of the aesthetic of that world, but that's a whole other thing.
It's funny because that's a lot of people's favorite
Sure, but I wonder if it's their. I wonder if it's their favorite
because of the look.
because of that.
Probably not.
No. I mean, it's a fun.
I think they were like, hey, it's going back to like fantasy instead of
Yeah.
future.
That's one of the things I really liked about Virtue's Last Reward. That I think even like compared to like Danganronpa, which seemed to be have like kind of a similar feel as far as
Everyone looks cool in Danganronpa.
The thing is, I don't know.
That's true.
Yet again, I have a different opinion, but I've played far less than you, Tom. But
Well, you've seen them. They're not going to look different. Maybe a
but
little
Virtue's Last
bloodier.
Reward, I think that all of them are like distinct and cool in their own rights, and I feel like some of the costumes in Danganronpa are kind of boring.
Yeah, I don't know. The Zero Escape series is weird for me because I like some of them. Like in 999, I like them. The character models there. I like the clothing there. Like on the fucking box art, the guy's like fucking, I don't know, lumberjack Marty McFly, you know? But yeah. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I really like I guess kind of the language of like the character designs in games like that, where you're giving a story and a background in a short amount of time with the costume, but it also doesn't look ridiculous. I mean, some of them do. Like, I'm not gonna say that none of the characters in Virtue's Last Reward series looks ridiculous because
Oh yeah.
that's not true. But
Saw the game.
Do you remember that game? Saw the game?
yeah, it's just a puzzle game. With
Is it?
blood.
I never played it.
It's just a puzzle game.
I remember when I worked at GameStop, I would see it on the shelf all the time. I'm like, I didn't know that.
I've only had one customer that was super into that series,
It came out around
But-
the same time as the Fight Club game.
but he also genuinely likes puzzle games and other aspects and other things he bought.
Sure.
So he's like, I don't really care about the movies, but I like the games.
Earlier, Ryan, you'd brought up Cody,
Oh, yeah.
and
Convict Cody.
I like that the clothing, because like let's face it, fighting games, Street Fighter especially, don't like they have a story, sure, but you're not really getting a whole lot from it, right? I like when the costume can kind of tell a story with it. It's like, you know, we know what Cody looked like before,
Yeah.
jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Then he was in his fucking striped jumpsuit in the Alpha series, and like now he's
out.
all suave.
Yeah, he's out. He's a free
Like,
man.
Things have changed. He's gone through ups and downs.
Yeah.
And you only know that because of the costumes,
Yeah.
you know. I think
I
that's
feel
pretty
like,
cool.
well, I mean, if his costumes are any indication, I feel like he's doing better now than he was before.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, he got out of prison,
Mm-hmm.
got himself some new clothes. Like, where'd he get them? He probably, well, now that I think about it, he probably beat someone up to get the money to pay for those clothes.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
We don't know. But
So he's probably not reformed.
sure.
Everyone dresses cool in Persona.
Yeah. For the most part, sure.
Like, those are some cool teenagers.
Yeah, and like they're all distinct
As-
in like as far as their like clothing to match their personality,
Yeah.
and I really like that because like going like earlier when I said like something I liked about Square Enix was like the movement in a lot of their games and the clothing, but like a lot of like JRPGs across the board actually like gunner characters look very similar. They normally have high collars. Like healers normally have like longer dresses. Like thief or whatever characters have pants and some sort of like saddlebags on their like hips.
For all the loot
For all the loot,
that
obviously.
they stole
Yeah, like
from innocents.
normally like more tanky kind of characters don't have a lot of like bulk around their neck or face, or even have like a lot of bags with them or anything. They're normally like more kind of like I guess like skin tight clothing, or like armor. And I think that but like I will say, I am one of the few people that I know in real life that like Final Fantasy X2 and or 10-2.
10-2, yeah.
And I will admit there's 99% of the costumes in that game are garbage.
Aren't the costumes like a focal point of the gameplay in that game?
In the same aspect, I feel like I think it was like 14. Like,
Aren't they in a band?
she is in a band.
Okay.
She is
Which
a pop
one?
star.
It's
Yuna.
it's three ladies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it's three.
Three
so
Yunas.
The three Yunas.
There's Yuna, who's a pop star.
Why I gotta.
And then Pain is. I forgot what she starts. I think she starts off as a warrior, and then Riku is a thief. But like, a lot of those character designs are just garbage. Even though they follow a lot of the rules that like other JRPGs do have, as far as like kind of telling which character is going to be which class.
Sure.
But like a lot of them just look real bad. Like I mean that's probably also why a lot of people didn't like it. But yeah,
People didn't like that game?
a lot of people did not.
A lot of people bought it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, it's just
And a
Final
lot of people bought
Fantasy
it
dress
again.
up. But I'm like,
That game
this
did
is-
come out again, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice actually. Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
You know what? I fucking hate-
Riku's thief. Not Riku. Pain's thief costume.
Major pain.
Was just terrible. Terrible.
I hate in
terrible.
Western RPGs, like, and I get it, but I hate when there's no transmog, which is weird because I talk about context in games, right? And it makes sense for you to be wearing that specific piece of armor to have that specific trait, right?
Right.
It makes sense, but I still hate it. Like, I
Yeah.
remember specifically playing Fallout 3, and I'd found this really awesome like sundress thing,
Yeah.
and I had this creepy like Jason Voorhees hockey mask
Yeah.
going on, and I was like, this character looks so fucking cool, but they're so fucking useless like that.
Yeah.
You know?
It sucks because like that's another thing with especially with RPGs are like this is the armor with the better stats, but it doesn't look as cool as the
Yeah,
armor you were wearing.
Exactly. Then I hate that. That's why I love like, you know, Diablo. You can look however you want with whatever stats you want.
Yeah.
That's what I want, you know.
Like with Final Fantasy 14, there's like glamour plates where you can look like Sith or Yuna or whoever, but like you have whatever
Glamour
armor
plates.
underneath it. And I also agree. I very much like that.
Yeah. Also, like, hide a helm. Like, let me hide the helm if
Yeah.
I want to.
Yes.
Like, I spent half an hour making that head look the way I want it to look,
That's what
just to not see it.
I'm glad Monster
You
Hunter
know?
put that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. Because, like, yeah, I mean, like, it's part of the immersion. And also, like, yeah, I do spend a fuck ton of time in the beginning picking out oh, what my character. I'm like,
Not everybody does, right? But if you did, you want to just not see it the whole game. What was the point? You know?
yeah.
It kind of with Monster Hunter, it kind of sucks for me because like I always like Tom, I always whenever I make a character, I try to make them look like me.
Yes.
But the thing about it is, like if you're making a black character, all the hair options are straight hair.
Oh, that's funny.
So
or
like,
there's like just one afro in there.
Wow.
yeah, there's like it's like so the options I have
Bald.
are straight hair, like afro or bald. So I'm always like bald. I'm like I don't want to be bald though. But,
Yeah.
I mean that's the choice I have. So like my guy looks super generic.
Yeah.
So I'm just like I don't care. So I have the helmet on him anyway. But I
Right,
I also have the option to have the helmet on when I'm playing the game, but hide the helmet during cutscenes if I want to.
Huh.
Yeah. But I'm never paying attention to the cutscenes because the story of that game's kind of garbage. So I don't really care.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about Mortal Kombat, specifically Mortal Kombat 3, and how the robots are just wearing motocross outfits.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's kind of neat.
I honestly, you know what?
Limitation of the time, though, right?
Sure.
Like, they can only afford what they could afford, and that's why you saw so many just palette swap characters back then.
Yeah.
But
I don't really like the way the armor in Vanquish looks. I feel like it looks very Ant-Man. It doesn't look very
Vanquish.
like
I
badass.
love it.
Oh, dude, Vanquish. Oh man, with his knee jets.
I also love like it's constantly like moving.
Yeah, especially like when you're changing when you change the weapon, he's not digging into his
Yeah.
bag, he's just morphing in his head. It's like, yeah.
I love that shit.
They should have licensed the Transformer sound for that.
Yeah.
Like that. That's
Yeah,
They
a
should have just hired you.
I do enjoy things like that.
Vanquish. Man, he looks a lot cooler than Dark Void, man. Even though he looks pretty cool too.
Yeah, Dark Void guy looks cool.
Yeah.
Zero's supposed to be actually really good.
What's that game that you Dark Sector?
Dark Sector.
He looks cool too.
Yeah, he looks all right.
Uh,
I mean, at the beginning of the game, he kind of just looks like a Navy SEAL.
yeah.
But then by the end of it, he's changed.
Yeah.
I remember really liking the costumes in Two Worlds.
I only played about 10 minutes of Two Worlds, so I couldn't really speak to that. But yeah, like the thing about Two Worlds though is the thing about a lot of Western RPGs, and that like I feel like a lot of my time is spent, managing my armor versus managing how I want to look. And as Tom mentioned, with the absence of transmog, those two things are usually at odds with each other.
I feel like characters in general in Western RPGs are just a lot more clunkier and feel like heavier.
Well, us Westerners are clunkier people,
That's true.
I'm saying like even any class like I pick, I just always like comparative to like how a lot of like things move in JRPGs. I just feel like everything just looks and feels bulky on my character.
You know what I really liked in the Tomb Raider reboot? They had a lot of different costumes for you to pick from, which is cool because typically with a single-player, linear, story-driven game, you got your costume and you're just set in that. Or maybe every few sections, the story will change and your character will change costumes.
Yeah.
But like in that game specifically, you could have these costumes to choose from, and like one of them is just her like fucking covered in mud, like fucking
Like
Arnold Predator, and I love that shit.
And
I
that-
played through the whole game like that.
But the
Because I feel like it was more suited for what was going on.
It's
you know?
the thing about it is like I wish they would have given her a Rambo costume because she's basically Rambo in those games.
Yeah. But like that costume in particular, like that seemed more suited for what was happening in that story than her actual costume did.
her original costume, though, it wasn't like an archaeologist or a thief.
Well, she wasn't. Well, she's not a thief, and I feel like you got to have the short shorts for range of motion.
That's true.
You can't wear long pants when you're doing all those
You wear
flips.
cargo
true.
shorts, like
No, I feel like
so you don't scrape your legs on shit when you're climbing and spelunking.
I don't know.
They actually say that you should wear pants when you're spelunking, so
Well, she wasn't spelunking though. She was tomb raiding.
That's true.
they are very similar.
I wouldn't know. I've done neither. But
I haven't tomb raided, but I have spelunk.
if I'm remembering correctly, she's wearing a t-shirt and shorts.
A crop top, tank top, and shorts.
I don't think it was a crop top. Oh, we pulled it up right now. We won't see a crop top.
There's a lot of belly showing.
Maybe, but I feel like whatever to get the job done.
Well, I like I mean, in the remakes, I like that it's a more realistic costume.
It's basically the same costume. It's just pants instead of shorts.
And like an actual t-shirt. And like a tank top that covers their belly.
Shanae, I really feel like you're misremembering what Lara Croft looked like.
Maybe I am. maybe it's all those drogas.
Either way, the fucking mud dirty costume is badass.
Yeah,
That's
and-
how that game should be played.
And I feel like it kind of, because it kind of, like you said, with with it kind of looks like Predator. Kind of gets in
Yeah.
that mindset because you're like Arnold was against overwhelming odds against the Predator.
Yeah.
Like,
You feel cool doing it.
yeah.
You know, I like that.
You know what that actually reminds me of?
Hmm.
Reminds me of Jim at the end of 28 Days Later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love things like that, man.
When he
Yeah, he
thumbs the eyes out.
he thumbs the that was man, that movie's cool. You know,
A lot of belly showing.
That's not the original Tomb Raider costume.
that is not. Look up Tomb Raider 1998. Okay.
All right.
When her hair did that weird thing.
Was she? Oh, where her ponytail wasn't free flowing,
Mhm.
but like on all the cover art, she had a ponytail.
Mhm.
That was weird. You know, I'm kind of surprised. Like, I know why they didn't do it, but for some reason, I'm really surprised that there weren't like alternate costumes in Gears of War.
Yeah, I mean, I know there have been recently for some of the multiplayer stuff.
Yeah,
But
but I feel like those were more like different character skins, though.
I understand why they wouldn't do it, though. Like, it makes sense for them to be wearing that shit the whole game.
Yeah.
Because of what they're going through the whole game.
Yeah.
You know, but, yeah. It's not like they cut to a scene of fucking Dom and Maria and he's wearing that get up at home on the farm, you know? Like, you know what I mean?
Wait, favorite fighting game costume? Carl Weathers skin in Mortal Kombat X.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good one.
I like that a lot, actually. I like there's a point in the story where it shows, and like I know why it's there, but like it's just funny to me. Like, it shows Jax like on his farm
Yeah.
working, but he's still got those
He's
metal.
got the arms.
He's got the, and it's just weird looking.
Yeah.
But they explain to us why he's got the arms. So it's funny because they changed the story because before his arms were like that because he was like, these are implants. I want to make my actual arms
Right.
better. Whereas
Now his arms were taken.
his arms were taken from him.
It wasn't his legs. It's his arms.
Sinead, we were watching Mortal Kombat Legacy, and they had Jax in the first season of that,
Yeah.
and like every time something happened to
Anytime
Jax,
there's an explosion or a
we just-
gunshot.
we just imagine being like, my arms. And then like at one point, like he was caught in an explosion, and then Sonya Blade wakes up. She's like, Jax, is he okay? And just like, yeah, he was caught in an explosion, and his back got really messed up, but it's not his legs we're worried about.
It's
His arms. But, and like we're supposed to be foreshadowing that we're gonna see Jax with robot arms, but the second season of Mortal Kombat Legacy was garbage, so they kind of just abandoned it. They even changed out the Johnny Cage actor.
Mhm.
Side note, Casper Van Dien, which is a really weird choice, but anyway.
I need to rewatch that. It's been a long time.
Yeah, like
They're all free on Steam.
yeah, which we watched them all on Steam for some reason. We could have very easily watched it on YouTube's.
I don't want to watch
tubes.
machinima content, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that was Machinima, wasn't it?
Hmm.
Why not?
You don't remember their whole debacle with the Xbox One launch?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
They got
I've done a
basically Machinima can be bought.
Yeah, you basically
Okay.
can't trust what they say.
Yeah,
Okay.
they can be bought. And if you're watching this, Machinima, good job on the Mortal Kombat. At least half of it, anyway. Yeah. Oh, and that was something that I noticed too, because like back when Mortal Kombat was just digitized people, like there wasn't a lot of things that they could do were alternate. It was like a lot, like you said, a lot of palette swaps, like between the ninjas and the robots. Like it was just basically different colors. And it wasn't until I want to say, I don't even think they were doing this in Deception and Deadly Alliance. I feel like it wasn't until Mortal Kombat 9 when we saw like different costumes for all the characters. And they were like more widely varied, and like a lot of them were like to comedic effect. Like Johnny Cage had his Ninja Mime costume, which it was funny to me, you know, and like a lot of stuff was like so widely varied, and it makes it more fun. Like it doesn't change the gameplay at all,
Right.
but it just makes it more fun in some ways.
What about the Cammy Alpha costume?
What was it?
Love that shit. It's basically the doll's costume, where it's just like the fucking unitard with the hat and the tie.
Oh yeah.
But it's light blue. I like that a lot because, once again, going into story for that game, like, you know, she was once one of Bison's dolls, and you don't ever really see that. You just see the fucking blue thing with the red beret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find that happens less often with like different costumes. I find that happens less often with like games that have like hand-drawn sprites in them, but like games like 3D games like you know, the newer Street Fighter games and Mortal Kombat, like that, you see that stuff a lot more often.
But I mean, this goes back to old 2D Street Fighter games, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alpha 3 was really good though.
Oh yeah.
I love that game. Go for broke, Tom.
Yeah. You know what I really like? You guys ever played the new Super Mario Brothers games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the side-scrolling ones?
Yeah.
Wait, I did not play those. I'm talking.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of
I
3D
played the one on
Land.
the Wii where you play each other in bubbles and stuff.
I really like the Toads with the helmets and the propellers. They're pretty cute looking.
They're cute.
So that I feel like that kind of confirms that that thing on their head is a hat.
No, it's not a hat. It actually was confirmed like 2 weeks ago that it's part of their body.
So they got those propellers surgically implanted then?
No, it's like on top of the thing. It's like a helmet that goes on top.
Oh, okay. So it's on.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was like coming out of the cap.
Mm-mm.
So if like someone because they're little toadstools, little mushroom men.
Yeah.
Someone just took a bite out of their little mushroom head. Like,
Ooh.
do you brain
Sinead.
damage?
I mean, it's never like.
We don't know what's in there, but
Yeah, we're assuming that's where their brain
I mean, if
is.
someone takes like a bite out of my hair, like I'm not gonna get brain damage.
Sure, but it's not their hair. You know.
That's what I'm saying. So if it's their head, like, now I feel
Yeah.
now I feel bad anytime I've stepped on them or hopped on them.
well, you're hopping on Goombas.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about like an Odyssey. Like I would jump on Toad.
Oh, well, that's just you being abusive.
Yeah.
He knew what he was getting into though. He's
Dude,
Also,
charging-
like
he's
the
charging me
Breath
money
of the
to-
Wild costumes, like the fact that each outfit most of the outfits have like somewhat realistic traits to them. Being able to go, last longer in the cold if you're wearing warmer clothes.
Yeah. That was really neat.
Metal, conducting electricity. I like that stuff a lot. The Sheikah outfit being good for stealth, like yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I mean, it felt like it matched the game, but
Also, like we
I
don't
don't ever
need
remember feeling
30
like-
years of green tunic,
sure.
yeah.
Kind of over it.
Yeah.
I just want to remember. I mean, I liked a lot of things about Breath of the Wild, and I liked I like that gameplay aspect of it. But I also, I mean, sometimes it got really annoying, the metal thing, because I was like, all my shit's broken. All I have is metal weapons.
Your
Shit.
fault.
Yeah, I have to go to a different area, find some other shit, so I don't get like zapped.
Yeah. Zap.
Zapped. But I don't remember ever being like really amazed by any of them. I was like, oh, this is fitting. This is cool. But
I think
remember-
like the canon Link outfit, just the blue tunic with the pants and all that, just that alone looks way better than he has looked in any previous game.
I was just thinking about the how sometimes costumes have like, and kind of in the same way as Breath of the Wild, like they have like practical applications. And I was just thinking about, but we're also talking about in in RPGs how a lot of the time you are you're negotiating aesthetic versus functionality and kind of trying to strike a balance between the two. And I was thinking about Dark Souls. There's a
That's funny.
there's a covenant you can join that gives you this armor that's like covered in spikes. And so if you roll into something or someone while wearing those spikes, it does like a bunch of bleeding damage.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
I had never thought about like in games someone being fashion over function. Like it's something you hear in real life, but like in games, I'm like, no, I'd rather get the stats than look the way I want to look.
Oh, yeah.
But it's more fun sometimes when you can have both.
Yeah, if you can have both, perfect.
Yeah.
But
I
Which,
don't remember
transmog, please.
I don't remember which Dark Souls game it was, but I remember one of them when you joined a covenant, you got this like shield that looked like a black hole, basically. It was just like swirling black kind of vortex thing. And I remember thinking that was super cool and asking Berto how long he was going to use it. He's like, actually, it's kind of a shit shield, so I'm going to switch it out.
Death looks like Casey Jones.
Yeah, he kind of does.
But Berto's really into having his characters like look badass. Like he's gone and like changed his like he went and changed his race and his gender on one of the characters in Final Fantasy because he's like, I don't think it matches like what the outfits are.
Yeah.
And
Like-
you gotta pay money to do that.
Oh, you got like a free token since he's played it since the beginning.
I just I really Diablo 3, man, with the transmog and the dyes and stuff like that.
You can look however you want.
Like I had a demon hunter that's just like all white, and like friends of mine would be like, "Hey, what class are you?" I'm like, "No, it's the demon hunter." You know,
Yeah.
like when you can make your shit that
and they
distinctive.
gave you like little costume pieces. Like they gave you. I remember they have some. They have some like cross promotion stuff with their other title Overwatch, and they let you have like the Mercy Wings on your character, which I thought was neat.
Also, oddly enough, the PlayStation 4 version of that game and I think the PS3 version of that game both had Shadow of the Colossus armor, which looked really horrible.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, looked real bad.
I think it'd be cool if you know how the PS4 version of that game had the Last of Us content in it.
Oh yeah,
I think
that's
it'd be
right.
cool if they let you if there was like a Joel armor set.
How fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
How weird that Diablo 3 had Shadow of the Colossus and Last of Us stuff in there.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah. It was funny because like the Last of Us monsters are like they're just basically ripped from the game. They're ripped from the world of that game. So they're wearing stuff that doesn't exist in Diablo.
Well, because of the portals, you see.
Sure. Jeans and
It
t-shirts.
could be anything we want it to be with the portals.
I feel like they should have patched The Last of Us
Yeah.
to like put Diablo stuff in there.
I
Could
mean,
you
I feel like
imagine?
t-shirts kind of exist in Diablo.
How about Levi's?
No, not those.
So
Not those. Not denim.
sure. Yeah, that's why I feel like more RPGs should have like a transmogrification system.
Yeah.
Um,
All of them should have it. I understand
because-
why they don't. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
But
It's just nice because like I play Monster Hunter a lot and like typically with your armor you're like mixing and matching different pieces because different pieces have like different bonuses on them. But there are sometimes I'd have a set like, man, I look really badass, but this is not the armor I want to wear to fight this monster.
well, and when it's a game that you're playing hundreds of hours of,
yeah,
you might get tired of looking at the same thing. You know,
yeah,
like it's good to have for sure.
yeah.
I really hated the way Borderlands did their stuff because it's just like it's colored a little bit differently.
Sure.
You know?
And then, like,
But you're also
maybe
not-
it has a different pattern. Or
But you're also
whatever.
not. You're also not seeing your character.
Sure.
I feel like I'm seeing
Sure.
my character every time I open the inventory screen, which is often in Borderlands.
Yeah.
Eh.
That's true.
And also I feel like that stuff is also
Plus,
because
you want to look cool to your
yeah, and I was
friends
gonna
who
say
are
that
seeing your
you want to
character.
look cool, like you want to be like, oh, where'd you get
Yeah.
that? And like, well, don't worry about it, man.
Yeah.
And the thing,
Dude, Killing Floor 2.
Yeah.
All right.
you can look how like you can wear pajamas with a gas mask and a top hat.
I got this weird future helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but it's pretty fucking rad.
Yeah. That's what I like. Also, I like Killing Floor because a lot of those costumes are like indicative of the fact that the game doesn't take it so very seriously.
I know I'm a sucker. Weapon skins are for chumps, but like getting all my guns to be that clean white, very cool.
Get that Horizine finish on there.
Yeah.
That's a good goddamn game. We should play more of that soon.
Mhm.
I'm probably still gonna rock the pajama jams until something
Until
cooler
you get
comes out.
new Jam Jams.
I'm probably gonna keep wearing the pajamas until they get some kind of deal to where I can wear RoboCop armor.
Sinead, did you see when Ryan and I played Left 4 Dead 2 with mods?
No.
So we had
Oh,
on
yeah.
our team,
That was
we
so
had
cool.
Jill Valentine.
Yep.
We had Batman Beyond Batman.
Yep.
Ooh.
We
Like-
had Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that was cool.
And who else did we have? Fuck, I don't remember.
Roseanne Barr.
No,
Shit, who was it?
I don't recall. Either way, it's great. Mods are hilarious.
Yeah, it was really cool. Man, that's gonna bother me now. I probably need to watch that video.
Oh, we had Jacket from Hotline Miami.
That's right, Jacket, and we gave him a baseball bat.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. That
You
game-
haven't lived until you see Batman Beyond with Ghost Rider.
Batman Beyond kind of got his ass kicked a lot though.
Yeah.
It was funny just like seeing them all stand in a room together.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, and we took those characters and we put them in a Super Mario Brothers level that someone made.
Yeah.
With,
Left for Mario.
Yeah, Left for Mario.
Is there a video of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of our Let's Plays.
Yeah. Complete with like warp pipes.
Yeah.
So that was neat.
Oh, that's fun.
The only thing that would have made it better is if they had a way to also reskin the enemies to where they look like Mario enemies.
Goombas?
Goombas or Koopa Troopas or
Just a bunch of Bowsers.
Hammer Bros. Anything. Piranha Plants would have been... Oh, there were Piranha Plants, I think, but they didn't actually do anything to you.
But no, like, I do think it's super important. Like, the look of a character, I do think is super important.
Well, I mean, we talked about that before, right? Like, with especially games that feature anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Well, what was it? What is that game called?
With the cat person.
Yeah, what is that game called?
The cat that's built like a man.
I don't remember what it's called. Anyways, like there's been multiple times where I've dipped on a game because I don't like what the main character looks like, and that sounds so dumb. But if I'm gonna spend that many hours with a character, I don't want to be annoyed every time I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be rooting against my own character.
How annoyed?
So it is. It's very important.
How annoyed were you when you were playing as the Noid in the Noid video game?
Not at all, but I thought the Noid was hilarious.
Does he? Okay, I can't remember. Does he hate pizza or love it?
I don't remember. I want to say he loves it, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Everyone loves pizza.
But yeah, it's super important.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to say is like your least favorite?
Least favorite?
Or anything that pops out of your mind just being like, this was terrible.
God, I wish I could remember what that game is called. Like, everybody has it. Everybody owns that game.
What? Describe it.
It's the Metroidvania with the fucking cat ninja person. And, like, Meat Boy's in there randomly.
Shit. Cat ninja person.
Yeah. It was free on PS Plus, which is why everybody owns it. Anyways, that's...
Are you talking about Dust?
Dust, yes. Dust and Elysian
Meat Boy's
Tail.
in that?
Yeah, Meat Boy's in there. Actually, a few different indie game characters are in there.
Huh.
Dust and Elysian Tail, like, that game is a good game. I cannot play it because I don't want to look at that thing.
How do you feel about
know?
How do you feel about the fox in Stories?
That's fine. I like it.
I don't like Meat Boy. Like, especially the sound effects when it would go up the walls.
Oh, I
Would
love
really
that
gross
little
me
fella.
out. Just the...
You can get that game for $1 right now on PSN.
Sure.
So buy it.
I'm not going to.
My least favorite. Man, it's got to be there, man.
Or something that just like sticks out in your mind as being like, ugh.
Well, there's a few that I think of. Like, I'm not a fan of Dreadlocked Bionic Commando.
Yeah, well, like with that, I think a lot of them are like a product of the time for
Sure.
sure, right? Like especially if you look at like early '90s games, how a lot of the dudes looks like in those games, like
Yeah.
a lot of them look fucking ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But like product of the time.
I'm not a fan of any of the look of anyone in the game Remember Me.
I thought that game looked cool, but I never played it.
Actually, the design for the main character is okay, but
Yeah.
everybody with whom she comes into contact, I cannot stand.
You know what? I great game. I don't like the way that the characters look in Life is Strange, which is you remind me of because don't nod.
Like, you don't like the art style, or
No, the art style is fine.
just
Like
the
the
way that people
clothing that the
dress?
characters are wearing, I feel like that's what they think American teenagers wear. You know, it's like this is what American kids wear. Put them in that.
Sure.
You know.
Well, they probably did in the early '90s.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not my least favorite, but something just popped in my head that I really like. I really like in BioShock 1 and 2 what all the characters look like. I like the Big Daddies. I think that's a cool giant costume like for the character.
Yeah.
Little sisters are like kind of terrifying. All the little splicers, because I mean, like if like
Yeah, the splicers are definitely the coolest costumes in those games.
yeah, like it just like it really fits the theme
I
and
wanna
like
go
and
back and play that
everything,
again
and
soon.
also they all make for cool real life costumes.
Sure, and reasonably easy to do outside of a Big Daddy.
A little sister's a little bit harder with the little drill arm.
Yeah.
I remember I saw someone
Drill
do-
arm, syringe.
Syringe. Yeah, I don't know why I said
I think you're
yeah,
thinking of
I
the big
realized
sister
what-
has the drill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
someone did a cosplay of a clicker, and like I got super grossed out
yeah.
looking at it.
Looks good though. I think I know which one you're talking
Yeah.
about. Looks cool. I don't know, man.
I think that I'm gonna see if I can think of my favorite. There are a lot of really cool looking dudes. Actually, a lot of people didn't like it. I'm not saying this is my favorite, but it's just something that popped into my head. A lot of people didn't like it, but DMC Dante looks really cool to me.
Looks all right.
I think he looks really cool. I
don't think he looks any worse than the other Dante. You know?
I think that he looks cooler than any version of Dante that preceded him.
Yeah.
Definitely cooler than DMC3 Dante. But yeah, I liked it. Like I remember one of the criticisms of that before that game came out is how he looked, and I was like,
y'all seen Bayonetta in that Princess Peach outfit?
no,
Pretty cool.
I bet she looks pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
I was like, Bayonetta looks cool in most things she does.
In her hair suit.
I think Bayonetta was a boss ass bitch.
So, is that hair suit made up of hair from her head or hair from all over herself?
From the pits.
Straight from the pits.
That's from her pubic mound.
Yeah. You think Mario ever stopped wearing those clothes?
He's wearing all sorts of different outfits.
No, I mean okay, so he's got the outfits.
Asking if Mario's a never nude.
Mario can't. I'm pretty sure Mario's not a never nude.
Yeah, we saw the nips.
No.
But he still has like undies on.
Sure. No, I feel like Mario has been naked before. We just haven't seen it. Like in Mario, in Super Mario RPG, and when you go to the super fancy hotel, he goes into that bathroom and he comes out with his face all red. So I'm pretty sure he got naked in there. Also, I feel like most people in Final Fantasy look stupid. I like those games a lot, but I feel like most people. Well, I should say all the Final Fantasies that take place in a weird future setting.
I like them, man.
I like them too.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you made them, Shanae. I saw you took that deeply personally.
I dig them. I like the look to 7 and 8, 15 even. I haven't played 15, but I like the look of it.
The one thing that I like is that I like playing the games a lot, but there are some times where I just like.
Also, like the 13 characters, I really like their looks, and like it's funny because some people rag on 13, but it's like one of the most cosplayed things.
Dude,
you ever
Lightning looks
see.
so cool, man.
Seen so many Lightnings.
Lightning is cool.
Yeah.
Because she's a pretty lady.
Snow doesn't look very cool. He's just trench coat with a beanie.
I liked it.
Actually, that kind of for some reason in a weird way he reminds me of Judd Nelson in Breakfast Club.
Sure,
yeah. You guys remember the bouncer?
Yeah.
Those guys.
I feel like that kind of look like Final Fantasy clothes to me.
I mean, yeah.
Actually, that looks a little bit more like Kingdom Hearts clothes, really. With the shorts.
Yeah, the shorts. He had the shorts with the spandex shorts under the shorts.
Yeah.
Well, when I think of
you toss that fucker into Kingdom Hearts, he'd fit right in.
Dude, I feel like you could toss literally any of those three buddies into Kingdom Hearts and no one would know.
Yeah.
I would know. But so you had the spandex shorts, and then you had the big guy with the fucking horns, but he also had these jeans that were like really long, so he was able to cuffed them, but like the cuff like went all the way up to his knee.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the other guy with the tribal tattoos all over his face.
Yeah.
It's a fun game though.
What do you think is the most important thing with a character costume? Like, let's say it's a big character in the story. What's important to have?
I think
that the costume can't undermine the image of that character that you're trying to get across. Like if you want to, because like I feel like there are like characters that are like really badass, but sometimes they look silly, so they have to be extra badass to kind of compensate for that. Like I think that if you have a character whose look kind of matches the kind of general tone and attitude of that character you're trying to get across, that makes it a lot easier to get into it, and I think that's really important.
Like Duke Nukem.
Yeah, it's like Duke Nukem is exactly who I was thinking of when I was saying that. Give me a red tank top and some Ray-Ban shades.
I think
Shake it, Ryan.
Where is it?
I think that it needs to match.
Can we put Duke Nukem on this thumbnail?
Sure.
Yeah, of course. I think we.
In fact, this episode is gonna be called "Shake It, Ryan."
Yeah.
I think A has to match like what the game is.
Sure.
How do you mean?
Like Kingdom Hearts game is meant to be very childlike and kind of youthful, and the main characters all look that.
So no Duke Nukems.
In games like a lot of fighting games, it's supposed to be like fun but still kind of badass, and like a lot of those costumes are.
Right.
I think that like where a lot of like I think if you just go for a general looking person that a lot of like first person shooters go for, like and a lot of like Western RPGs kind of go for is a generic look.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Destiny white guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a lot of them it's just like it doesn't really connect on anything, and it doesn't really add anything to the story, and I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy like being bored by the character I'm playing.
Yeah.
I think that like having something interesting while still being like, oh, this is like a thing with it, and also like a cohesive look in general. Like if you got a giant upper body and like tiny legs,
Like
as far-
Tom.
as far as like armor or whatever goes, I feel like it looks very silly. It looks like a drumstick.
Eggman has a giant upper body and tiny legs.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think that serving the story is important. If story is even important in that game.
Quality of the.
Well, I mean, like we talked about fighting games, and a lot of those fighting games, the story isn't necessarily that important.
Right.
Unless we're talking about King of Fighters. Which,
Sure. I guess.
Everybody in Guilty Gear is definitely distinct.
Oh yeah, totally.
I wouldn't say that I think all of them look cool, but they're all visually striking and they all stand out from one another.
But like
I
because
think
there
is
is
really
like
neat.
normally a lack of story in those games, or people not really caring about the story, I do feel like their costume and their appearance holds their story.
Dude, May is like a young little pirate with a giant fucking hat with a Jolly Roger on it, and she carries a huge anchor and rides dolphins into battle. It's fucking awesome.
She's a cool character.
I mean, that tells her story. You know what
Yeah.
she's about.
Tom, I know that you play as him often, but how do you actually feel about Saul Bad Guy?
He's fine. He's the Ryu of the series. That's when you're trying to learn a series, you need a character to grab onto that's simple to learn, and that's what he is. You
I
know?
mean, like
how he looks.
Yeah,
I mean, he bites bullets. That's cool.
that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That his weapon is that a sheath of some kind?
I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you. I know nothing about Guilty Gear outside of the gameplay, but it's good stuff.
And for some reason, I can't remember what. I guess it's probably because I see Guilty Gear more often than Blaze Blue, because that seems to be the series that you gravitate towards.
Right.
I can't remember what anybody in Blaze Blue looks like.
Yeah, they're definitely not as distinct,
Yeah.
but a bit more sterile, that series too.
Mm-hmm. Also, not a huge fan of everybody in Killer Instinct, but I will say that I think
TJ Combo.
he looks really cool. Cinder, and Saberwolf because he's a wolf man.
Mm-hmm. Spinal
Oh, Spinal's the coolest, man.
and Jago
I don't know about
and
Jago.
Orchid and Tusk.
Which one
Actually, all of those characters are cool.
which one was Tusk?
Tusk is the caveman one, introduced in part 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I felt wasn't there like a caveman lady in that?
Yeah, Maya?
Yeah.
I don't think she was a
lady.
caveman, though.
Oh.
Cave lady.
Okay.
I think she was a Mayan.
Oh. That's not the same.
No.
That's not the same. Yeah. I know that a lot of the time, especially when you're trying to sell your game or show it off, like at some kind of trade show or whatever, like especially when we're talking like a new franchise, like that character needs to look pretty badass to like get people to notice it. But that being said, I feel like Shawn Ashmore looks just fine in Quantum Break.
Oh yeah, I mean for what they're going for, totally.
Yeah, he's dressed like a regular man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what.
You been playing that?
No, I haven't installed, and
Play it.
yeah, is that show any good?
It's
No.
It's as good as you would expect it to be, right? Like if that you could see that being on TV alongside like a CSI or a show of that quality.
Okay.
It's not a huge budget, but it's not a small budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Acting's roughly the same, like it's where you would expect it to be.
yeah. It just reminds me of
It's better than Powers.
when I was man, that show was garbage. This reminds kind of like the conversation that we had last week when you got all the Max Payne games.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, man, I don't want him to be bald.
Oh yeah, and the new one.
Yeah. But at the same time, like
I've decided that I'm more ready to accept bald Max Payne than I am to accept
smirking Max Payne.
That Max Payne face. Yeah.
It's funny because like he's always making that face.
Yeah.
Even when
Doesn't matter what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is you can be of two minds of that. Like
It's like we said, product of the time.
sure, because that is an early 2000s ass game.
Yeah.
But then again, we talk about how like costume serving a purpose within the story, and bald Max Payne very much serves a purpose within that story.
Yeah, I think that's the best point that's been brought up so far, Shanae, is the costumes, serving the story of the game.
Yeah.
I don't want to like keep talking about Shadow of the Colossus and Eco and all that, but like
You keep talking about them, man. Those are good games.
Well, like
Eco's wooden shoes, man.
Like the poncho that Eco has is very, very similar to the poncho that Wander has, and the only other character you see in that game with that on is Iman. Out of all the characters, which there's not a ton, but there's 6 guys with just him alone. None of them are wearing that.
Iman's David Bowie's wife.
And like that doesn't tell us anything for sure, but from that we can speculate that Wander is probably an apprentice of his or something like that.
Sure.
And I like stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd actually like to on another show talk about those games and their vehicle for storytelling, which is like
it's all lore, right?
Yeah.
And like we know that
and like
game
games
influenced the Souls series,
like
right?
games
And Souls is
yeah.
very much told
like
through
games
lore.
that basically like games that do that, you know,
Yeah.
and kind of make you piece it together and like kind of crowdsource the story in different ways. But yeah. Video game characters look dumb sometimes. Video game characters look cool sometimes. That's
also like
the
Quote.
takeaway here.
I like Quote and Curly from Cave Story. They're the way they look. Obviously in the game, they're just like little sprites. But like yeah, it's kind of a t-shirt and pants with a trucker hat, but it's like kind of future looking because he's got the ear doodad and like the giant Nerf gun, and like I like that.
I like Pac-Man's costume.
Shoes.
Yeah.
Sometimes shoes, sometimes circle.
Sometimes shoes, sometimes gloves as well.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of like new trivia to do, right? Like new trivia games to do, and like one of the games I thought of that I think I'll probably do next week or the week after is like first lines of games. Like I tell you the very first line someone says in the game, and you guys tell me what game it's from. And I started thinking about like what games could I do
I'm gonna fail at this
that
so
you
hard,
guys might get.
But I'm gonna come up with some good answers.
And I'm like, Miss Pac-Man. They might actually get, which I don't know it off the top of my head.
Sure.
But like the first little line of dialogue is like something about like they met, it's Pac-Man meeting Pac-Man, and like I don't know.
That's gonna be my answer to everything.
Yeah.
Sure.
The first lines. I want to call it pickup lines.
Ooh.
That'll be the name of the segment.
Nice.
Today, before you joined the show, Tom and I did a thing where Tom would read me taglines to video games, and I'd have to guess the game.
Oh, yeah.
And he read to me the tagline for Silent Hill Downpour, and I did not get it. It's called, like, what is it? Let's Get Wet or
something like that. It's not that, but it's something like that.
I remember us doing something similar to that when I first joined.
You may have been here for it.
Let's Get Wet.
But is there anything you wanna plug, Ryan? Anything you wanna tell our listeners about?
That means Shanae's ready.
It means that's...
I have to pee. But
Well, we've discussed it before,
It's so
Shanae,
close to the end of it. I want to wait. Last time y'all like said go do it, and then you closed the show without me. I want to tell people bye. I want them to know that I'm gonna miss them.
Sure. We'll tell them now.
No, just plug your shit.
I don't really have anything to plug this week, man. Not anything. Not. I haven't really been consuming anything that other people don't widely know about.
Can I plug something?
Sure.
Florence, play it. It's like $2 or $3 on your phone. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, he talked about it at the top of the show, but he's gonna do a check it out about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna plug it again with a check it out.
He's gonna plug it up. You want to plug something, Shanae?
No, I'm good. Thank you though.
Sure. I'd like to plug the McDouble.
It's value.
It's got a good value. They're
Good
inexpensive.
taste.
It's good taste. It's inexpensive. You can get like, my limit is 3.
I've seen you do 4.
I told you that when I ate those 4, I had figured out during that time that my limit was 3. I just kept going because I bought 4, but I won't ever eat 4 McDoubles in one sitting again. But
my limit's 1.
Ryan, if you had 3 McDoubles,
Sure.
right, and you ate all 3 of them,
Sure.
you're like, man, those McDoubles were good.
Yeah, that's usually
And
what
I
I'm
brought out
thinking.
a 4th. I was like, Ryan, here's another McDouble. You're telling me you wouldn't eat it?
Oh, I would, which is why I don't buy 4, because I know that I'll eat all 4.
But it's not your limit, though.
Limit before he
I
ate.
feel like I could make you eat 5, and it wouldn't take much convincing.
His limit before he feels like shit because he ate too much McDonald's.
Yeah. But see, the
We
thing,
coined that term, by the way. Too much McDonald's.
the thing
McDonald's is never going to sponsor us.
that do you ever say
Not
never
with that
mind?
attitude.
Because they're don't they? There's
No,
McDonald's.
I'm trying to dare them to. I'm trying to like, oh, you don't think we will? We will.
Don't they have some kind of gaming thing going on?
I don't know. How present is McDonald's on Twitter?
I imagine they kind of keep a low profile because everybody's afraid of getting roasted by Wendy's.
Yeah.
Or I mean, Arby's got good social media game too.
Yeah.
Well, they don't. I don't feel like Arby's burns people. They just make
Sure.
they just make pop culture references all the time.
It's typically irrelevant to the product,
Yeah,
but still cool.
yeah. I mean, it's attention grabbing. I feel like more people.
It doesn't make me want Arby's.
No, I'm not into Arby's, but a friend of the show, he used to work at Arby's, and he used to give us recommendations of the best sandwiches there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like the best sandwich is probably still a pretty bad sandwich.
No, I like them okay. I just those tweets don't make me want them more.
Holy shit. So I just went on McDonald's Twitter.
Uh-oh.
They had a competition 4 days ago
Okay.
where you can
How many McDoubles?
Can you eat?
submit your vows of love to compete to win the Bling Mac, a one-of-a-kind 18-karat gold diamond-encrusted ring that looks like a Big Mac.
Sure.
You're telling me you wouldn't want that, Shanae?
I would want that to give it to Ryan.
Shanae, let me ask you something. Let's say on the day that your boyfriend proposed to you, and he opened the ring box, and inside was the Bling Mac.
It does look like one, though, huh? Pretty good job.
Would you not wear the Bling Mac as your
No.
engagement?
Shanae, that is a
No.
big ring.
No.
You see all the jewels?
I would never wear that.
So you mean to tell me if he proposed to you and like
I would
this is the
sell it and use
this-
that money for the Luna.
What if Berto had proposed to you by hiding a ring in your McDouble?
Well, I wouldn't be getting McDouble
why?
because I get other items at McDonald's.
Oh, you get the McVegan.
Yeah, I get the McVegan.
You disgust me.
No, I don't get the McVegan. But yeah, no, I want.
There's something for everybody
Sure.
at McDonald's.
There's a McDonald's game
There are a few, I think.
like that they're promoting on there.
Like a new game.
Yeah, it looks like a new mobile game.
Right on. So I wonder what kind of unlockable sandwich costumes you can wear in that game.
I don't know.
We're gonna close out the show with Tom looking at McDonald's. Shanae has to go to the bathroom, so I guess we'll have to end now. But again, thank you for hanging out with us and listening to us talk about costumes and things of that nature. My name is Ryan Robinson. That's Tom Shelps.
Hold on.
That's Tom Shelps.
Hold on.
Oh, hold on. Tom's got some bonus content for you. Tom, can they see what you're doing? Oh, there we go. There it is.
Can I read one of the ones that they've retweeted?
Sure.
Sure, I'm going to keep this like this, though.
Sure, do it.
There's only room in my heart for my wife, but there's only room in my stomach for you. Be mine, Big Mac, and maybe my wife's too, if she wants to share.
I'm loving it.
Da da da
Oh,
da da.
I feel like because of this, I gotta change. I'm gonna change the name
Wait,
of
I'm gonna
the.
put my hand up and gonna put it on there like it's.
Don't tell me what to do. Just gonna look forward. Maybe we can make like a McMask.
Mask. All right, guys.
I'm the bloating in the middle of the night. I am McDonald's.
That's right.
I'm the what in the middle of the night?
Bloating, because it makes my stomach bloat. It
Oh,
always gives me bad gas. Always.
and bloody stool.
No, not that.
Anyway, that's Tom Shelps.
Goodbye.
That's Shanae Howie.
Bye, guys.
See you next week.